Today, we are diving into one of the hottest topics shaking world politics, Donald Trump shocking 50% tariff on Indian goods. But this is about more than just tariff. It reveals something much bigger, the double standard of the USA and the West. How India is standing tall without going down. You are watching PRADHAN'S Education, where we break down global politics and expose the truths. So let's begin. From August 27, 2025, Donald Trump's 50% tariff hits Indian products. But here is the irony. Because of tariffs, the American consumer will now pay more than before for these same products. Americans themselves will bear the cost of Trump's frustration. But why is America so frustrated with India? Because India refused to sign unfair trade deals, refused to compromise its sovereignty, and refused to play by America's script. Friends, let's break this hypocrisy step by step. When India buys affordable oil from Russia for its 1.4 billion citizens, the US and EU cry that India is funding the war. But when EU imports Russian natural gas, suddenly it called energy security. When India refines Russian crude and sells petroleum products, it is labeled immoral. But when America itself negotiates directly with Russia, it becomes strategic engagement. And here is the real expose. After the Russia-Ukraine conflict in 2022, ExxonMobil, America's biggest oil producer, loudly announced its exit from Russian business. But behind closed doors, Exxon has held multiple talks recently with Russian giant Rosneft about re-entering projects, all with the quiet approval of the US Office of Foreign Assets Control. On August 15, 2025, Donald Trump himself met Vladimir Putin in Alaska, where energy trade discussions were at the top of the agenda. The US also explored supplying equipment for Russia's Arctic LNG 2 project, even though it is under Western sanctions. And believe it or not, there was even a proposal floated for America to purchase nuclear powered icebreakers from Russia. So, friends, tell me, when the West trades with Russia, that is not funding war. When ExxonMobil wants Russian oil deals, it is called business. But when India buys oil at a discount to ensure affordable fuel for its people, suddenly India is immoral. This is nothing but double standard and pure hypocrisy. Even US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent indirectly admitted the truth. His frustration was not just about oil, it was about Washington's failure to force India into one sided trade deals in agriculture and other sectors.
Look, Maria, this is a very complicated relationship. President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have very good relationships at that level. And it's not just over the Russian oil. The Indians came in very early after Liberation Day to start negotiating on tariffs, and we still don't have a deal. I thought that we would have a deal in May, June. I thought India could be one of the earlier deals, and they've kind of tapped us along in terms of the negotiations.
But friends, the hypocrisy does not end here. Trump's trade advisor Peter Navarro recently launched an arrogant attack on India. He said,
to me, Joe, is that the Indians are so arrogant about this. They say, oh, we don't have higher tariffs. Oh, it's our sovereignty. We can buy oil from anyone we want. India, you're the biggest democracy in the world, okay? Act like one. Side with the democracies. You're getting in bed with the authoritarians.
now just think about this for a moment. The United States, which for decades openly supported dictatorship and authoritarian regimes against India, is now giving lectures to the world's largest democracy. From the 1950s onwards, America armed Pakistan's military dictators with billions in aid, weapons that were used in 1947 and 1965 wars against India. During the 1962 wars, instead of backing India against Mao's China, the US quietly opened doors to Beijing through Pakistan. In 1971, when India intervened to stop genocide in East Pakistan, America stood with Pakistan's dictator Yahya Khan, sent the USS Enterprise to threaten India. In the 1980s, the US pumped billions into Zia-ul Haq's dictatorship in Pakistan, armed the Mujahideen through the ISI, and those same weapons later fueled terrorism in Kashmir. In the 1990s, India faced sanctions after nuclear tests, but Pakistan's nuclear black market was ignored. During the Kargil War, Washington denied India GPS data but kept arming Musharraf's military. And after 9/11, the US handed over $33 billion to Pakistan's army, even as terrorists trained on Pakistani soil killed innocents in Mumbai in 26/11. So, Mr. Navarro, before pointing fingers at India, maybe America should look in the mirror because the truth is simple. Whenever it suited them, the US chose dictatorships and military regimes over India's democracy. And yet today, they have the audacity to question India's sovereignty. No, sir, India does not need lessons in democracy. India is the world's largest democracy. And Navarro himself admitted something important. He said, the road to peace goes through New Delhi.
thing that happens, of course, is Ukraine comes to us and Europe and says, give us some more money. So everybody in America loses because of what India is doing. The consumers and businesses and everything lose, and workers lose because India's high tariffs cost us jobs and factories and income and higher wages. And then the taxpayers lose because we got to fund Modi's war, okay? The road to peace runs at least partly right through New Delhi. I mean Modi's war.
Let me ask you
because
this.
the road to peace runs in part through New Delhi.
Think about it. The US and NATO have pumped billions of dollars, supplied weapons from companies like Lockheed Martin, turned Europe into a battlefield, but they still could not end the war. And now they are admitting openly, without India, there is no peace solution. This is the biggest acknowledgement that India has become a central player in global diplomacy. Look at the moral gains. Supplying missiles and drones to Ukraine is not funding war. NATO giving billions in aid is not funding war. ExxonMobil exploring secret energy deals with Russia is not funding war. But India buying oil at a discount to stabilize global energy prices, that is somehow funding war. Friends, the truth is simple. The West morality changes according to its convenience. And while the West plays these games, India is quietly rising. India is already the world's fastest growing major economy. By 2030, India is projected to overtake Germany, becoming the third largest economy. By 2038, India could be the second largest. India's pharma, IT, steel, and manufacturing sectors are providing affordable solutions to the world. This rise of India frustrates the US because the monopoly they enjoyed for decades is collapsing. The world no longer listens only to Washington or Brussels. Today, the world looks at New Delhi. Friends, these tariffs are not about trade. They are about the fear of a rising India and the collapse of Western dominance. The road to global peace and prosperity now runs through India. And while the West lectures us about democracy and free trade, history proves it has always backed dictatorship when it suited their agenda. But today, when Trump slaps at 50% tariff, India is showing the world we don't want to be bullied. America may impose tariffs, but New India will not back down. We are strong, independent, and fearless. If you found this breakdown useful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Pradhan's Education, your space for bold, fact-based analysis and exposed hypocrisy and celebrates India's strength.